Are you a working mom crushing it at work, but still waiting for that spark of joy to return? In this episode, I sit down with Walter, the Dutch mentor, who shares why your career growth depends less on hustle and more on dreaming big, acting small, and having the right mentor in your corner. If you're ready to ignite your leadership and finally get that promotion or pivot without burnout, this one's for you. Welcome to the Shannon Fox Show, the podcast where we empower career moms to thrive. I'm your host, Shannon Fox, a career advancement coach dedicated to helping moms like you leverage your strengths to land your dream job, secure that well-deserved raise, or finally get that promotion, all without sacrificing time with your family. Each week, I'll bring you actionable strategies, inspiring stories, and strength-based tools to help you align your career with your natural gifts and step into your full potential. So, if you're ready to stop feeling stuck and start building the career and life you deserve, you're in the right place. Let's get started. Hello and welcome. I'm excited to have Walter, the Dutch mentor, with me today. Walter is a passionate advocate for personal development and mentorship and a dynamic speaker who helps professionals unlock their full potential. With a rich background in coaching, leadership, and career acceleration, Walter combines real life experiences with actionable strategies to help individuals build confidence, trust, and leadership skills, all while embracing a growth mindset. Fun fact, when Walter isn't mentoring or speaking, you'll find him flying helicopters and airplanes because when it comes to life and learning, he always aims high. Walter, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Shannon, it's my pleasure to be here, and I look forward to a wonderful 15 to 20 minutes that is impactful and, of course, actionable for your listeners.
Yes. So let's talk about personal development and mentorship. What sparked that passion in you?
Yeah, so it really starts at the beginning, right? Is that what is my purpose and passion? And early on in my early teens, I came across a very tragic accident where I was holding an elderly farmer who was dying in my arms, and I felt completely helpless. And
Wow.
I had an epiphany right on the street there that I will never be in that position again. And from that day forward, everything I did was about learning how to become a healthcare provider. And my intention was initially to become a doctor, but that sidetracked a little bit. But I became a paramedic and a flight paramedic. And along the way, in all of those positions, it was about mentorship, right? It's about mentoring the next generation of paramedics, the next generation of leaders. And that's where my real deep passion came from. It started as one-to-one, but then seeing that how it could impact many more through teaching others how to lead. And of course, always a reminder how I can become a better leader. And through those trials and tribulations, I had the opportunity to start working with people. And 20, 30 years later, having gone through the full value stream of working as one-to-one provider all the way to the C-suite and healthcare organizations, I had the great opportunity to step out and go out on my own. And today, the key driver and the key passion for me is that there are so many wonderful high performing doers, right? People who are on the
Right.
front line, and they get promoted into leadership roles, and they have a really difficult time, crossing over the valley of despair, as I call it, learning how to effectively lead after they've been really good at doing. And sadly, our organizations are not being supportive to them. Yes, they send them to orientation, or they will have a chat with them once a month, but that's not enough to help you really cross over to become an effective leader, find the joy in leading. So that's what I do every day today. I work with one-to-one clients, and I work in small groups, 5 to 7 people in departments. And just over the period of time of working with them, 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, it is amazing the work that you see in themselves, right? It's about
Right.
self-development, self-awareness, learning to solve problems or root causes, and then putting it effectively together so you can work as a high-functioning team. And it gives me great pleasure.
I love that. So, what would you tell the moms that are listening that maybe have lost their joy in their leadership role? What advice can you give to them?
So first, I want to give a shout out to all of the women in the world, not only because it was International Women's Day last week or National Women's Month this month. Listen, I have 5 beautiful kids. I would have had none of them if it wasn't for great women who stepped up along the whole entire journey of their So kudos to that. The second thing is a shout out. Women are more introspective and more self-aware than men are. And how do I know that? Well, listen, my clientele is 85% women. They actually know when to say, listen, I don't know something. Let me seek out advice and guidance and mentorship. So kudos for that, right? You will get way ahead of the men. You don't let your egos and pride stand in the way. With that said, it is exceptionally important, no matter where you are in your journey, it is to dream big and act small. And so, too often I come across people who have their dreams are limited to what they are doing today, or maybe what is just beyond the next opportunity. It is exceptionally important for them to go back and really raise self-awareness, understand their deep why, and a meaningful and purposeful part of life, and translate that into the jobs that they seek. And it needs to go over the horizon, because those who limit their dreams are going to limit their outcomes.
Right.
And today, it is a difficult environment that most families have to have two people in the family earning an income. But even though you still have the task of carrying often two full-time jobs, right? Being mom,
Right.
being a wife, being a partner, and carrying the workload at work. But that shouldn't limit you to what it is that you want to do. And work-life balance is exceptionally important. So as I teach, as I coach and mentor, I see myself more as a mentor, is I draw from deep personal experiences of myself and the people that I've seen around me, is to guide people how to live a fulfilling life, but also at the same time not give up on their dreams. And you can do both. Because on the end of the day, leadership is not just about doing, it's about visioning. And it's about making sure you understand time boundaries. A 9 to 5 job does not need to be a 7 to 7 job, right? It's about being able to take care of your children in the morning, go to work, have a fulfilling professional career, and be home by 5 o'clock, and then manage all of the activities after, including working for somebody who understands you as a mom, as a family, and holds the same values. That if you have a doctor's appointment, you can do that. If you have a child's activity at school, you can do that. So it's really the combination of those factors, but it all starts with your dream. You understand, once you develop your dream and the small actions, and one of those actions could be working with a person like myself to help guide you and support you on a weekly basis to attain all of it is that you have dreamt about.
Yeah. I think that is so important because I know, like, for me personally, I've set goals before that I was like, okay, yeah, I'm pretty sure I can hit that. And then I reached it and I went, what happens if I had actually done a bigger goal? Would I have reached that? And then, so I love like not limiting myself and making your advice of not limiting yourself and making those big goals that we can still have that work life balance. Sometimes, it might look a little different for each person, but you can still have that balance in there.
Yeah, listen, there's no one blueprint out there for any one woman to be exactly the same. Every one of us is an individual. Each one of us has to make adjustments to meet those needs. Those are personalized needs. But again, the key is if you dream big and then perform a gap analysis to where am I today? What's my current state? To where it is I would like to be sometime in 3, 5, 10, 15 years from now. What is the next phase in my life? And I break it down into 3 segments, right? It's 70, 20, 10%. 70% is about learning on the job where what you currently do to stretch what it is that you're doing. 20% of it is to work with a coach and a mentor. I do on a volunteer basis, but I released an article today about the significance of a return on investment when you're working with a coach or a mentor. Especially employers should be hiring mentors for their talented team members. And of course, 10% is about closing the gap that is educational. Do I need to get back to my bachelor's, my master's, or do I need to get some sort of a certification in order to put myself in a position of success? But we love to talk about things, and we also love to kick the can down the curb. So one of the things I work with many people is to be their accountability partner, right? So I guide them, I support them mentally, physically, emotionally. All these things are all pillars of a highly effective leader. But the key thing is on a week-to-week basis, you learn to hold yourself accountable on a scorecard. You have to set milestones. You have to make them practical, right? What we call SMART: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. All these things we can talk about, but we can accomplish limited or nothing. And we have to know the truth that 70% of the things we dream about or we want to accomplish never come to fruition because we don't measure. So it's really, really important to learn learn to measure your milestones and assess that every single day and have a weekly accountability with somebody. If you combine those two factors, measure and accountability, the likelihood that you will get that promotion, the likelihood that you will get that 20, 30% salary increase is significantly improved.
I love that. I've noticed that even in my own life, of taking goals, and I have every Friday we meet at the end of the week for an hour, and we talk about what we do a personal development book, but we also talk about our goals, how close we are, where we fell short, what we're struggling with, and it's really helped improve for me my business as well.
Yeah.
So I love that.
Yeah, if you don't measure, you're likely not going to attain the goals you set for yourself,
Yeah.
right? It is for every dream, it requires an action,
Yes.
right? And you're accountable for that. Nobody's going to do that for you.
Yes, yes. I totally agree because, I mean, like I said, I've seen it improve in my business. So, what happens if someone doesn't have an accountability partner right now? What should these career moms, how can they find one?
Yeah, so I mean, the easiest thing to do is to go back and Google and find somebody. So this is my pledge to what I always say to people is that be very careful of hiring a coach versus a mentor. A coach, great people. They have good intention, often not necessarily aligned to the industry that you're working in, and often don't have the deep personal experience in the line of work that you're in. So I would recommend people to go seek mentors. Now you can go to a professional organization and you can find them on a volunteer basis. You even, the boss also, I'll mentor you. Well, that's all good, but the thing is that it's great intentions, but the follow through is not so good.
Right.
Once a month doesn't work. So I would recommend people to go find a mentor with whom you can work once a week for 30 minutes. Why 30 minutes? Well, it's the same reason why we want to do this podcast for 20 minutes, because our attention span is not that great, right? But you
Yes.
need somebody to have the ability to have a confident conversation. And you and the relationship that you have with your mentor is a fiduciary relationship between you and the mentor itself. So it is a mentor-mentee type relationship. I always welcome anybody who listens to any of the shows or where I go to my website at thedutchmentor.com. Listen to, I think there's a dozen testimonials of other, mostly women in a similar position as you're talking about, who have benefited from the mentor-mentee relationship. I have a great membership opportunity. These are one-to-ones, not meant for corporations. That is affordable. It's a latte per day, keeps the doctor away, or will set you up for a great success. You can always have a conversation with one of my mentees to see what, in real time, on what it is that they and how they benefited from the conversations. Book a free strategy call. Go to my calendar on the top, book a 30-minute call. Let's have a conversation about how we can set you up for success. I always say that if you go to find a coach or a mentor who is selling themselves, that's probably not a good thing. I don't need to sell myself. If you see what I do, what I've done with clients, and you want that, then come join me. And if you don't like in 4 weeks what we are doing, then say goodbye. And that is the power of now. Nobody has ever done that, so don't you know. But I encourage you,
Right.
try, put yourself to the test. Is this
Yeah.
something that can be beneficial to you? And if it is yes, you will reap the benefit in 12 to 18 months. I would say 85% of my clients have received promotions or significant raises in their work, and they are all happier today than they were before they came to me. So,
That's
and again, it's not about me, it's about finding the right mentor, right? I'm just one.
right.
There are many, many wonderful mentors out there. I invite all of the people to come for a chat. But yeah, mentor mentee is the key to success. If you and weekly interactions.
I love that. So, as we wrap up today, I love to leave my listeners with one action step that they can take today to move them forward. So, what action step would you like to challenge them with?
So I would challenge them to create their own IDP, an individual development plan. You have to put pen to paper right out of the gate. So write down what you're doing today. What is your current state, right? And then write down what is your future state. What is it that you desire for 3 to 5, 10 years from now. So that is kind of your big dream, right? And then try to understand what is the most likely next position that you would like to go into. That gets you one step closer. Now, the key and the action is this. Write down what can you do in your current role to give you additional skills, knowledge, and abilities. Find a mentor to work with, and make sure that if there's any educational gaps, start enrolling in the right certification or the classes you take. Don't let any of that stuff hold you back. Now, of course, the magic takes place that you need to measure on a daily basis. And if you don't know how to measure, start simple. Maybe you want to go to the gym, and maybe you want to learn how to drink water, or drink a glass of water per day, because that's really good for us, right? But it's really difficult behavior, right? Write down, I'm going to drink 8 glasses of water. Hold yourself accountable. Give yourself a green, flood your brain with dopamine when you did well. Give yourself a warning of a yellow if you fell short. If you didn't do it at all or less than 4 glasses, give yourself a red. Our brain works well in colors. That's the reason why we have stoplights are red, yellow, and green, right? We know what that means. Dopamine is our normal, natural, response to the things we do well. We need that, a lot of it, right? So use the colors, use the scorecards, and set yourself up for success.
Awesome. That is great advice. Well, thank you so much, Walter, for being here today.
Thank you, Shannon, for the invitation. It was a blast, and let's do it again sometime.
Yes, for sure. Thanks so much for tuning into The Shannon Fox Show. If you found value in today's episode, I'd love for you to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with another career mom who's ready to thrive. Don't forget to grab your free Mastery Zone Discovery Quiz, where you'll uncover your strengths and take the first step toward aligning your career with your superpowers. You can also connect with me on Instagram at the.shannon.fox for more tips and inspiration. Until next time, remember, you're not just building a career, you're creating a life you love. Let's make this happen.